The House on Hollow Street. Emily Carter had always been drawn to mysteries. Living in the small town of Greystone, she had explored every abandoned building except one, the house on Hollow Street. People said it was cursed. Some said they heard whispers at night. Others claimed that those who entered never came back the same. Still, curiosity gnawed at Emily's mind. One late October afternoon, with gray skies above and wind stirring fallen leaves, she turned to her best friend. "Jake," she said, gripping her backpack. "Let's go inside the Holloway house." Jake frowned. "You mean that place? Are you serious?" "It's just a house," she said. "We'll be in and out. 10 minutes. Come on, don't tell me you're scared." Jake rolled his eyes but followed her anyway. The two walked down the cracked sidewalk until they reached the rusted gate. The house stood tall, its windows like blind eyes, the wooden boards gray with rot. The front door creaked open with a moan. "Smells like death in here," Jake muttered. Inside it was cold, unnaturally cold. Dust coated everything. The wallpaper was peeling and strange symbols were drawn on the walls in faded red. Emily pulled out her flashlight. "Let's check the basement." Jake groaned. "Why is it always the basement?" As they descended the narrow wooden stairs, they heard a sound, a faint whisper. "Leave." Emily froze. "Did you hear that?" "No," Jake lied, his voice shaking. The basement was filled with broken furniture and old toys. At the far end, behind a crumbling wall, was a door, one that didn't appear on any house plans Emily had seen online. She turned the knob. It led to a narrow hallway, the air damp and heavy. They followed it in silence and reached a room lit by a single candle on the floor. On the walls were dozens of photographs. All were of different people, men, women, even children, but their eyes were scratched out. Jake backed away. "I don't like this, Emily. We need to go." Then the door slammed shut. The whisper returned, closer this time. "Stay." Emily ran to the door. Locked. Jake's phone flickered, then died. Emily's flashlight dimmed. The whisper turned into a low growl. Suddenly, a shadow moved across the wall, though there was no one there. Jake shouted, "Who's there?" Silence. Emily took a deep breath. "Let's look for another way out." They found a stairway hidden behind a curtain. It led to the attic. As they climbed, the steps creaked louder and louder until one snapped beneath Jake's foot. He stumbled, scraping his leg, but Emily caught him. In the attic, it was pitch black, and then the candlelight reappeared. But it was already there, waiting, a figure in the corner. No face, only darkness where a head should be. The whisperer. It moved without sound, its shape flickering like fire. It raised a hand. Suddenly, memories that weren't theirs flooded their minds. Children crying, a woman screaming, the house burning, and a man, Mr. Holloway, chanting something in a forgotten tongue. "This house is alive," Emily gasped, "and it wants us." Jake couldn't move. "Why? What does it want?" The whisperer pointed to the wall. There, newly added, were two photographs. Emily and Jake, their eyes untouched, for now. Emily grabbed Jake's hand. "Run!" They dashed past the shadow, down the stairs, through the basement, to the main floor. The front door was still locked, but then it opened. Mr. Holloway stood outside, impossibly aged, his eyes milky white. "I told them not to go in," he said. "But they never listened." Emily pulled Jake through the door. As soon as they were outside, the house behind them groaned, then went completely silent. They looked back. The windows were boarded, the gate chained. Jake collapsed onto the grass. What the hell just happened?" Emily looked at the house. "We weren't supposed to leave." 1 week later, Jake hadn't spoken much. He didn't sleep. Emily tried to act normal, but every time she looked in the mirror, she felt like something was watching her from behind. One night, she found a photograph on her bed. It was her, but her eyes were scratched out, and the whisper returned. "Welcome home."
The Cabin Beyond the Pines. Lena Rivers loved forgotten places. She had spent her summer photographing ghost towns, old barns, and crumbling railroads. But when she heard rumors of a cabin deep in Blackroot Forest, where no birds sang and no animals roamed, she knew she had to see it. Her cousin Mark wasn't thrilled about the idea. "Lena, people say that place is cursed. Whole search parties have gotten lost in those woods," he said, as they parked their truck on the dirt path. "That's just folklore," Lena replied, strapping her camera around her neck. 10 minutes in, 10 minutes out. They followed a narrow trail surrounded by towering pine trees. The deeper they went, the quieter it became. No birds, no wind, just the crunch of dead leaves underfoot. After an hour of walking, they found it, a cabin, half swallowed by the forest. Its roof sagged, windows broken. Vines had claimed most of the wood. A large, rusted nail stuck out from the doorframe like a jagged tooth. "This is it," Lena whispered. As she raised her camera, Mark hesitated. "Something feels wrong, like we're being watched." Lena shrugged. "That's the vibe I want for the shoot." Inside, the cabin smelled of mold and decay. The floor groaned with every step. Dust hung thick in the air. But there was something else, a presence. Mark pointed toward a corner. "Did you see that?" Lena turned. Nothing. She moved into the next room. There was a fireplace, charred and cold. Above it, words were scratched into the wood. "Don't look outside." Mark read them aloud. "Don't look outside? That's comforting." Then a tap at the window. They both froze. Just a tap, tap, tap. Mark stepped closer to the window, squinting into the trees. "Maybe it's a branch." Something moved. A dark figure, gone in an instant. "I think we should leave," he said, voice low. Lena ignored him, raising her camera to snap a photo of the writing. But when she checked the preview screen, it glitched. The image was distorted. "Dead battery?" she mumbled. Then she heard it too. Scratching, not from the walls, but the ceiling. Mark looked up. "Is there something in the attic?" A trapdoor hung overhead, its edges blackened. Without thinking, Lena pulled the old rope. The door creaked open, a ladder unfolding. "Nope," Mark said. "Absolutely not." But Lena was already climbing. The attic was darker than the rest of the cabin. Her flashlight flickered as she scanned the room. Dust-covered dolls, broken chairs, and in the corner, a mirror. It wasn't cracked or dirty like everything else. It looked new. As she stepped closer, the air turned icy. She saw her reflection. And then behind her, not Mark, but a tall, pale figure with hollow eyes. She spun around, nothing there. She ran down the ladder. "We need to go, now." They didn't speak as they left the cabin. The forest seemed different. The trees. Closer? The path? Unfamiliar? "Which way is the truck?" Mark asked. I don't know." Every direction looked the same. The woods swallowed the trail. Then they heard footsteps, behind them. But when they turned, no one. Lena's breathing quickened. "Something's following us." Mark nodded, gripping a fallen branch like a weapon. "We keep moving, don't stop." But the footsteps grew louder. Then they stopped. They turned a corner and saw it again. The cabin. "What the hell? Did we walk in a circle?" Mark gasped. "No," Lena whispered. "It's not the same. Look, this cabin was newer. No vines, windows intact, but it was the same cabin. Somehow pulled from another time." Mark stepped back. "We're trapped." Suddenly, the door creaked open on its own. A shadow moved inside, and then they heard it, a voice, not quite human.
"Stay with me."
They ran. Branches scratched their skin. Roots tangled their feet. The forest twisted around them. No one has seen them since then.